Grasso. Mike Shea, Red Top Farm, Shady Side, West River Road, Shady Side. With me, I bring some of my neighbors and colleagues in a coalition that has recently formed on an issue that is hard to understand. I mean, we all use cell towers and cell phones, but a lot has changed since this county council took it up over 4 years ago. If you Google on the internet the traffic and what has changed throughout the nation, Prince George's County no longer allows cell phones on elementary school grounds. Montgomery County no longer allows cell towers on elementary school grounds. The firemen, the National Labor Union no longer wants cell towers at fire stations. A lot has really changed since you considered it over 4 years ago. And what we're here tonight is some of the individuals would like to share some of their concerns, but I can tell you in my years of organizing in the community, nothing has ever hit an issue has never hit as strong and as fast as this issue here of putting cell towers on elementary schools. Shady Side is targeted to have one, and we're participating in the process of trying to join the other counties in the nation to do the right thing. And let's err on the side of safety. We're elected to It's the #1 constituent service that we provide for our citizens is safety. And safety for our children is just as important as our firefighters. And we need to do what the rest of the jurisdictions have done and step up. And I'll turn it loose to the rest of us. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, Mr. Shea. Appreciate it like always. Hey, how are you doing this evening? Thanks for coming to see us.
Thank you. My name is John Earl. I live on Idlewild Road in Shadyside, Maryland. So I come before you today to implore that we change legislation that allows the cell phone companies to build these high-powered microwave antennas on elementary school grounds in Anne Arundel County. As a father of 5 school-aged children, I am personally impacted. It's proven that children absorb more radiation than adults, and there are various health impacts. And in fact, a 2016 NIH study has led the American Academy of Pediatrics excuse me, to officially recommend reducing children's exposure to RF radiation. The American Cancer Society states that it's important that the possible risk of cell phone exposure continue to be researched, especially with regard to use by children and longer-term use. The truth here is nobody can say definitively that cell phone towers are safe. And if this tower goes up, my children will be exposed every day to this microwave radiation. And I personally won't let my children be the lab rats in this massive real-life study. PG and Montgomery counties aren't taking that chance, and I don't think Anne Arundel County should either. Our children need to be protected, and you are the ones that can do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out. Mr. Walker?
What was your last name, sir?
Earl, E-A-R-L-E.
Earl, thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry.
Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Jean Lessica. I'm also.
Thanks for coming out, Ms. Jean.
Thank you, John. I'm here also to address the board as a parent with a child who attends Shady Side, as well as a neighbor who lives near the school, expressing concerns for the proposed tower. If neighboring counties have enacted policies that do not permit cell towers on elementary sites, I just question why Anne Arundel County should be the first and why our kids should be the experiment. While we may not agree on science, but in a litigious society, even a perceived perceived risk of harm can cost counties a fortune in legal fees. Right now, in Ripon, California, parents are fighting the school district because 2 children there were diagnosed with some rare forms of cancer that they claim occurred because of long-term exposure to a cell tower placed at their school. And as Mike mentioned, the International Association of Firefighters has adopted an official position opposing the use of cell towers on fire stations until they say a study is conducted and proven that such sites are not hazardous to the health of their members. So, why should we put our kids at this risk? And transparency, it's also an issue. Milestone Communications, which is the company that wants to construct the tower, mailed information to people less than 300 feet from the site. We've been made aware through our research or through our dealings with our neighbors that this didn't reach the majority of parents and residents who live nearby and attend the school. And for my research, this is their business plan. They file the application in the summer when most people are gone and make sure that they don't give that information to everyone. So just this evening, when our grassroots efforts is reaching a bit of traction, they informed us that they are postponing the community meeting that was set for July 19th to August 9th. And that's just less than 2 days for us to inform residents that this has changed, and they only let that be known to one parent. And so I just implore you to consider our concerns. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Madam?
Am I on?
You're on.
Okay, I'm on. Okay. Good evening. My name is Diane Cubey, and I live on Washington Avenue in Shadyside.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having us. As a mother and as a grandmother, I'm opposed to this, but also because of my background. I was actually a representative for the United States on a congressional delegation that went over to ascertain the health concerns from the Chernobyl accident. So I have a background in that as well, and back everything that these people were saying. But I'm here for another reason. I'm here because of property values. Nationwide, statistically, when these towers go up in anyone's neighborhood, there is a 2 to 20% drop in property values. So for the money that the school board is taking in as profit, okay, and I think it's not really a very good deal that they negotiated, to be honest with you, but for the monies that they'll be receiving, property values going down are going to deplete tax revenue. So it may not be a win-win situation, and it may actually hurt the county and our properties as well, if this happens, as well as the pocket of Anne Arundel County for their tax base. So thank you, and I really hope that you take this under consideration.
Okay. Thank you for coming out, folks.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Peruka?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you leave, Mr. Shea, or perhaps anybody else on the panel, I'm a little interested. It seems interesting to me that we're, obviously, it's hard to argue that you want to protect children, but if these things are dangerous, aren't they dangerous for everybody? You mentioned some kind of, you made some kind of statement that we know that these things are more dangerous for children, but how do we know that? Is there some body of evidence that you can not recite right now, but point us to?
Sure, yeah, no problem. Okay, thanks. Yes, I mean, there are lots of studies where they do MRIs and observe the brain in the bodies of children versus adults, and they can see that the radiation actually penetrates deeper because the skulls are thinner, the mass is less, the distance to travel from one side to the other is less. All the standards for testing are done on adult-sized skulls and people and body mass. And the standards that haven't changed since 1996. You can imagine how much things have changed since 1996, as far as like the power of
Has
our
the
devices.
radiation changed? Or?
A lot, yeah. I mean, phones, different frequencies, different powers, better batteries. Things have changed a lot.
Not to get down into the weeds, but you know, when the BG&E was putting smart meters in everybody's homes, there was a lot of people who were standing up and saying, and complaining and asking questions about the danger of the smart meters and the radiation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And that did not get very much
Right.
play. Is this like that, or is it
It's similar, and the difference is the smart meter is like having a cell phone on the side of your house that calls the company once a day. So it's not on all the time like a cell tower, which is just, imagine like a spotlight blanketing the area. Yeah, 24/7.
Right, well,
So a smart meter is very different than what we're talking about.
okay, but that, just for the record, that is, what you just said is contrary from what I have understood, that they're only one call once a day. That's.
Oh, it can be a
there are
lot.
many people
It can
that
be a
argue
lot
that-
more. That's true.
There are many people that argue that it's
They
much
can
more
say
than
it,
that, but.
and you know what, the way that system works, it's a network. So my home may call once a day, but it's a local network. So each meter is calling a close by meter, and
Right.
then there might be one that's reporting everything back to the electric company. So it would be busy all day. So you could have one on your house
Yeah.
that's busy all day. Yeah.
All right, I appreciate it. I think that there's a lot to learn here to make these decisions, yeah.
If I could just add.
Michael, can I address the two things that you mentioned also?
Yeah, I don't want to get too, we got to keep going. but
Exactly.
Go ahead.
30 seconds. Politically, it's different because I've done a lot of community organizing, and when you talk to somebody in the community, they are concerned. So I think politically, it has juice. The other thing is these young children are in that school 7 hours a day, and the energy is radiated constantly from that antenna. That's different than the appliance checking in. In other words, the radiation is constant from the antenna.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you
All right.
very much.
Ms. Dummersberger?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Walker.
You said your last name was Kuby, is that, could you spell it for me?
It's not spelled the way it's pronounced. It's
Okay.
spelled K-U, B as in boy, E as in Edward.
Thank you.
All right.
Can I just say?
We're
This gentleman here-
finished. Do you want to go with that, Mr.
This
Walker?
gentleman had somebody else to say. I think this
Okay.
gentleman testified here.
Go ahead. We have another person here. Okay. Sir, you want to go ahead and put your 2 minutes on the record, please? Name and address.
Name's Larry Earl. John Earl is my son.
Thanks for coming out, sir.
You're welcome. 115 Smith Avenue here in Annapolis. Just a personal note to kind of put things in perspective. John has a sister, 44 years old, who is living with us. My wife and I are basically caregivers. Jessica's had 2 brain surgeries at Hopkins. Glioblastoma is the same one that Senator Kennedy had. 2017, where we are right now, can't definitively say that her cancer is a result of RF frequency. 2 to 4 years from now, we're going to know it. I mean, we're that close to it. The decision to put up a cell tower this year or next year could be an easy one for you to make, but you may regret doing it 3 years from now. Just throw that out for perspective.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, folks, for coming out. I'm taking no one else wants to come down and speak on this, so we're going to move forward. Okay. Is any item any council member would like to place on the agenda? Of course, I'm always going to take a shot at this one because I like hearing myself talk a little bit. We're moving forward with the fountains on Marley Creek and Furnace Creek, and I have had people make calls to me wanting to know about how to get the fountains out on their different districts. And if you folks want information on that, just call the office and I'll help you get situated with your fountains. And of course, as much as I'd like to come take care of your waterway, it's a full-time job just taking care of Marley Creek and Furnace Creek. So it's going to require some participation on your part. All right, with that being said, let's see.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Trumbauer?
is this still items not appearing? Should I do my open meetings designation thing?
No, but we have
Oh.
other things before them.
Understood.
He is
Oh, very good, thank you.
Yep.
Never mind me.
Yep. Come on now, don't be...